Do you think the Niners are contenders in the NFC at this point?
I absolutely think that they're contenders. And I know there's a lot of question marks with Jimmy G, with Deebo Samuel. How ready is Trey Lance is another question that is going to have to answer that bell sooner or later. But the nucleus of players that these guys have, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, Bosa, Armstead, Fred Warner's in the prime of his career. You talk about Trent Williams, still has some good years left there. You've got Kittle. So this team is built for long-term success. That's the reason why they drafted Trey Lance, so that eventually they can move on from Jimmy G and not have to pay that $25 million a year and be able to go and disperse that money elsewhere on that team. And so when you look at them, it's also Kyle Shanahan. He's one of the brilliant offensive minds in our game. He's going to play to the strengths of their players, and I think that they're going to have success, and they're going to be in the mix. Look, you look at the top of the NFC right now, it's the Bucs, right? It's the Rams. I should say it's the Rams. It's the Bucs, right? But you talk about Green Bay, they've got some question marks to answer too. So I'm convinced that this team can compete right now. It's not anywhere close to a rebuilding phase.
Yeah, this administration of the Niners, they wouldn't rebuild any more than I would say the Steelers are rebuilding, even though they have Trubisky now. They just don't really do that. Can Trey Lance play? We don't know. Nobody knows. I don't know if Kyle and John know. They are good enough, and they are loaded enough, and they have enough players that this Niners team is not going to be 5-12. But are they going to get to a Super Bowl? You know, I know everyone's being asked about this, and Kittle's being asked about it. And Kittle's like, look, his upside is crazy. He's got to play some games. Like, he needs to play games. We just don't have the experience. Kay knows this every offseason. I always find myself using the word pivotal. Pivotal about certain players in the league. We know who the great players are. We know Mahomes and Rodgers and all those guys are going to be great. Trey Lance, I think, might be the most pivotal player in the whole NFL. Meaning, if he shows up and he's like Mahomes in his second year, or even close to that, they can win the Super Bowl next year.
100%.
If he shows up and he's just, I don't know, I'm like the little cub who's just not ready to hunt yet, they have trouble. I don't care how good, even if Deebo stays. I love Shanahan. I love all those guys. If the quarterback can't play, and if he's a work in progress, you guys know, like, sure, maybe you can get to the wild card round. They're not winning the Super Bowl. They're not winning the NFC. So I just feel like the pendulum on Trey Lance it dictates so much. If he's got it, look the hell out. And I think we'll know early. I think we'll know in week 2, week 1 about, I think maybe this guy should have stayed on the shelf another year. So a lot of great players, a lot of below-average players. I can't think of one who's going to swing more influence and more wins and losses and then more of a mystery than that dude, the second-year guy.
What do you think? What does your gut tell you? Because all we know is we're looking at clips. We're hearing John Lynch. We also didn't see him in big moments. They could have used him in certain packages on the field. It was just Jimmy G. What do you? Which side of the pendulum are you more on? He's a transcendent player, or
Think what happens in the next 48 hours. Look. If they trade Deebo Samuel tomorrow, in 5 minutes, it's tough. They drafted Trey Lance understanding he's going to work with Deebo.
Right.
And I think that could completely kneecap the guy in terms of what he's supposed to do. So that's why, I think the quote from John Lynch is interesting, because we saw Steve Keim last week say, 0 chance. We are not trading Kyler Murray. It's a great quote. Lynch, I can't ever imagine wanting to, and I sympathize with John because he can't come out and say no. So if Deebo's gone, all bets are off. If Deebo's there, I believe in Trey.
Yeah, they call Kyle and John. Like, what are you?
I don't know.
Play pickleball with them?
Yeah, I kind of do. We play a highlight, actually.
Kyle and John.
Yeah, that's my guys.
Yeah, you're a highlight guy.
I love highlight.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're still contenders. The reason they're contenders is when you have a head coach like Kyle Shanahan, who's, to me, is one of the top 5 in the NFL, as similar to Bill Belichick as I've seen a head coach or just a coach. You're going to be in contention. They've got Bobby Turner, who also helps that offense run. But to me, where they're rebuilding is going to be part of that coaching staff. Mike McDaniels being gone is going to be a bit of an issue. Kyle has had him around ever since Washington, so it's going to be very helpful. To me, when we talk about Trey Lance, to me, no pun intended, he is the linchpin. He's the linchpin as to what the ceiling is in terms of where the 49ers are going to go and how far they can go. And I think there's a lot that's unknown here. And I think that there's a lot that's unknown by the 49ers themselves until they get into the situation where they see him play in circumstances under true duress. Because, one thing about Trey Lance, he has not seen high-level competition yet under extreme duress. And that's what's going to sort things out, I think, this year for the 49ers. And, again, we talk about this quarterback situation. I just want to back up on the Garoppolo thing. To me, when you talk about the quarterback position and his high cap number, You have to look at the quarterback position in its totality. They've got a quarterback who's under a rookie contract in Trey Lance. They've got $25 million in Jimmy G. You put those two together, they're still at the middle or lower end of the spectrum in terms of the investment, the totality of the investment financially. So they're not in a bad place. It's how much are you spending at the position, not just one specific player. We've got 7 $40 million quarterbacks in the National Football League now. Jimmy G's $25,000 plus $25 million. Plus Trey Lance, it's not that bad. So what you have is a very expensive insurance policy if Trey Lance doesn't have it.
I'm here for that. That's great. But the thought all along is you replace Jimmy Garoppolo with Trey Lance eventually, and he'll cost you a fraction of the price, and that's why you can extend Deebo and extend Bosa and keep the core together. I think Mr. Lynch is operating in that way. I call him Mr. Lynch. You call him John.
Gotta compensate for
you know, the hierarchy of our show here. So to me, it's like Deebo is pivotal in this. I ask you as a GM, and I don't think there's anything else John could say. Okay, can't do it. There's nothing else John Lynch can say than what he did say about Deebo. He wants him. He can't ever imagine wanting to move on from Deebo Samuel. As a GM, what's the next step here, Scott?
Well, you can never say never, and that's exactly what John did right there, and that was what's important. But again, until you have getting rid of Deebo Samuel creates a problem. And as a leader, head coach, general manager, your job is to eliminate distractions. You cannot intentionally and knowingly create a distraction for your team. Doing that with Deebo Samuel, if you move him, that's exactly what that's going to do. Until you have a solution to the problem, you don't create one. That being said, it sounds like Deebo is forcing his way out.
What is going on here?
Why?
This is the new NFL.
Like, go win the NFC. Let's go.